In the default workflow, the leading load model node loads model files from the local file system, while the final save image node saves generated images locally. So where exactly are these files stored? Let's go through the file system structure of ComfyUI. In the Olares system, we can conveniently access the file system using the ComfyUI launcher. For easier viewing, click to open the application in a new browser tab, then click the button labeled Open Root Directory to directly access the ComfyUI core directory via the File Manager. The parent directory of this folder is also called ComfyUI, which serves as the application directory. Just like the local version, besides the core folder we just mentioned, there are also some management tools. When starting ComfyUI, a Python environment is required, and all dependencies must be installed in this environment. If you're using the portable package, you'll typically see a folder named Python_embedded in the ComfyUI directory. When installing plugin dependencies, always use the python.exe inside this folder to execute pip commands. On Linux, ComfyUI usually uses a venv virtual environment for isolation. You need to activate the venv beforehand. All dependencies will only affect the current environment. As for the Olares system, it adopts a container-based deployment method, directly utilizing the system Python provided within the pod, making it very hassle-free to use. Within this directory, our main focus should be on the ComfyUI folder. It's the system's core part. Double-clicking ComfyUI, you'll see many files and folders inside, such as various .py and .js files, as well as configuration and cache files. Although it may look messy at first glance, there's no need to worry. We only need to pay attention to a few key directories. All model files are grouped inside the models folder, which in turn contains several subfolders such as checkpoints, diffusion_models, and VAE. Different types of models must be placed in their corresponding subdirectories. Otherwise, the loading nodes won't find them. Most traditional models such as SD1.5, SDXL, and Flux FP8, all-in-one models, are stored in the checkpoints directory. These model files generally come with their own clip and VAE components, so no separate configuration is needed. The new generation of models, such as Crera, Wan, and Hunyuan, are typically placed in the diffusion_models directory. These behave differently. Their text encoders, or clip, usually need to be placed separately in the text_encoders, or clip directory, while VAE files should go into the VAE directory. Other common model types include lightweight fine-tuning models, known as LoRa, control models, known as ControlNet, and upscaling models. Each should be stored in the directory named after its type. For a detailed directory structure and corresponding model types, refer to the provided table. In the Olares system, if you also use platforms such as SD WebUI or ForgeUI and want to share model files across platforms, you can place models in this shared folder. This will be mapped to the public directory under the corresponding subfolder of the models directory in the ComfyUI application. If you're on your own local system and want to share models across platforms in a similar fashion, you can refer to the file named extra_model_paths.yaml.example in the ComfyUI core folder. Create a new YAML file specifying the folder paths for your models. The input folder is named input. In some workflows, you might need to upload images, videos, audio, and other assets. For example, if you want to convert a photo of a young lady into an anime style, you need to use the Load Image node in your workflow to select the picture. However, this type of node also generally has an upload function, meaning you can upload files during workflow use without prior preparation. Uploaded assets will be automatically saved in the input directory for future reuse. Inside this folder, there's also an output directory. In a standard environment, all generated images, videos, and other content are stored here. However, on the Olares system, there's a slight difference. SD WebUI, ForgeUI, and ComfyUI outputs are all stored in this unified directory, making it easier to check finished works. Generally, nodes responsible for saving content support custom phylum prefixes, such as MIE. The first generated image will be MIE-1.png, the next will be MIE-2.png, and so on. By using a /, you can automatically create subfolders for classification and organization. For example, set the prefix to MIE/M, but make sure not to end with a slash. If you generate two images, both will be numbered within the same subfolder. Back in the ComfyUI directory, the last folder we should care about is custom_nodes, where all installed plugins reside. So what are plugins? Plugins are custom nodes developed by the official team or community developers. They provide extra features to enable more powerful operations. For instance, the GGUF plugin lets you load models in GGUF quantized format, reducing VRAM usage. Ultimate SD Upscale makes upscaling images easy. Plus, there are various effects, animations, and restoration tools, offering a wide range of functionality. How do you install plugins? The most convenient method is to use a special plugin called ComfyUI Manager. Simply search for the desired plugins in its interface and install them with one click. The system will handle dependencies automatically. Let's take installing the ComfyUI Dev Utilities plugin as an example. This plugin allows you to view the memory usage and runtime for each node. Enter Dev Utils in the search box to find the plugin. After clicking the Install button, the system will pop up a select version window with three options: latest, nightly, and some specific numbered versions. The numbered versions are released manually by the author and are generally tested and relatively stable. Latest will automatically select the newest numerical version, while nightly refers to the current code in the repository, which may have new features and fixes, but could also contain bugs. In general, it's recommended to choose latest. This ensures you get newer features with relative stability. Of course, if you're familiar with a plugin author's habits or need the latest features or fixes, feel free to choose nightly. For this plugin, I'll select latest. After clicking select, the system will download and install it. Once installed, you'll be prompted to restart ComfyUI for the changes to take effect. Click Restart and confirm. ComfyUI will reboot and automatically install the plugin's dependency libraries. After a brief wait, the ComfyUI frontend will reconnect and prompt you to refresh the page to apply the new plugin. You can check plugin loading logs by clicking the bottom panel menu in the sidebar and scrolling up, or check the newly installed plugin in the manager. If you're unsatisfied with the version, you can use the switch version function to change it. Now, if you rerun the workflow, you'll notice memory usage and runtime displayed above the nodes, indicating the plugin is running successfully. ComfyUI Manager has another extremely useful feature. When using shared workflows from others, if you're missing some nodes, it can automatically identify which plugins the missing nodes belong to and install them for you with one click. However, niche plugins not registered with ComfyUI Manager won't be recognized. For example, when I drag in a workflow, a window pops up listing all missing nodes. Click Manager, select Install Missing Nodes, and it will show that these nodes are part of the WAN Video Wrapper plugin. Click Install, select Latest, and after installation and restart, refresh the page. The red borders around the workflow nodes will disappear, meaning the plugin was installed successfully. Moreover, Manager also provides features for upgrading the ComfyUI core, version management, model downloads, and other practical functions. However, in the Olares environment, the ComfyUI application we use has been carefully polished and tested. The core version, plugins, and workflows are all properly matched. It's best not to manually upgrade ComfyUI core here. A more reliable approach is to update directly to the new version through the market. Using the manager to install and manage plugins is highly recommended. However, there are times when you'll still need to install plugins manually. For example, ComfyUI Manager itself is not a built-in component of ComfyUI. When you deploy a new ComfyUI environment, you must manually install the manager first. Some newly released plugins require review and processing time before registration in the official marketplace, so you may not be able to search for them via the manager immediately. The manual installation process is actually not complicated. Use git clone or download the plugin as a compressed package, then place the plugin files into the custom_nodes directory if it's a zip, extract it, and remove the main or master in folder name. If there is a requirements file in plugin directory, it indicates that you need to install additional dependencies. In this case, make sure to use the same Python environment as ComfyUI and run the specified installation command. Finally, restart ComfyUI and the plugin should be ready to use. However, it's important to note that manual plugin installation is not recommended for users who lack experience. If a plugin's dependencies conflict with the versions used by ComfyUI itself, it may result in errors or even prevent ComfyUI from starting. In the Olares system, the ComfyUI application comes pre-installed with many practical plugins, and each update includes thorough testing to prevent plugin conflicts. If users need to install new plugins, they can do so directly through the manager, making the process very straightforward. Once a plugin is successfully installed, its nodes will appear in the node library on the left, or you can find them by right-clicking in the workflow interface. If you do not see the new nodes, there may have been an error during startup. Check the logs for details.